Narcissism is a ghost story told by the ego to itself. Before I begin, there is a TV show called Love and Robots, and one of the episodes is called The Aquila Drift. I'd like you to watch that. I think it's only about 10, 15 minutes long before you watch this, because I don't want to spoil it for you. It's relevant, and I'm going to get into why in a moment. With narcissistic personality disorder, the person who has narcissism is effectively trapped themselves in a fantastical, grandiose vision of who they are and of reality itself. And they did that to survive. Now, if you watch Love and Robots, Aquila Rift, is it Rift or Drift? Let me check. It is Rift, Aquila Rift. What we have is a situation where an astronaut is really trapped in a devastating, horrifying reality. But there is an alien who is also trapped in this reality, but has the power to make his experience not as painful for him as it is for the alien. The alien is of a superior intelligence, of a superior capacity, but they're both trapped. They're both trapped in a place that they don't want to be. The alien can only do so much for this human being, for this human astronaut. And what it does for the human astronaut is it keeps the astronaut alive in a false version of reality that offers the astronaut comfort as he's slowly dying, so that he doesn't fall into despair, so that he doesn't have to deal with the painful reality of his situation, which is that all of his friends and fellow crew members are either dead or at the brink of death, and that they're really in a place where there is no hope for rescue. The alien presumably is very lonely, has compassion, and keeps the human alive, and then shows up in his dreams in the illusion as a love interest. So the alien is also receiving some benefit from this symbiotic relationship. And I think about this, and I think about the shared fantasy as defined by Heinz Kohut, Frank Yeomans, and to Sander. This is a defense mechanism to a traumatic and painful relationship. It's one in which we share the coordinates of the abuser. I wouldn't say willingly, our consent is coerced in order to survive the horrors of the relationship itself. Now, in this scenario, I don't want you to think of the powerful alien who is keeping the astronaut alive in a fantasy world whilst showing up in his dreams as his idealized perfect lover, as the narcissist and the victim. I want you to go a step further, and I want you to imagine that the alien and the astronaut and the fantasy are all part of the self, and that the narcissist in this scenario is just the blank, horrifying catastrophe of space. You are in a place that is empty, that is dead, and where there's no hope of escape. I think in the story, I think all of the aliens all of the creatures, the aliens to us because they're non-human, plus the humans have ended up there because they've all slipped through the same wormhole, and they're in this sort of trash can, this localized trash can in space. You're too far from anywhere. You can't communicate. You can't escape. There is no hope. There is nothing there but a sucking vacuum, and all you have is the other outcasts, the other aliens who've been expelled there by mistake. And you can think of all of those different entities as parts of the self, fractured parts of the self that have been sucked into the narcissistic fantasy. The quote-unquote loving alien, if you choose, I'm taking a good faith approach to this, that the alien is also doing this because it's lonely and it wants companionship, even if it must be pretty grotesque to show up as the sexual fantasy of an alien being. Could you imagine that? You're going to be like, I'm so lonely. I'm going to enter this tentacled, weird creature's sexual fantasies as another tentacle creature, because we must be gross to aliens, right? We must look weird, smell weird, sound, whatever. Back to the plot. That's how lonely the alien is. The alien is taking on the sexuality of a different species of being just to know some semblance of intimacy as it slowly dies. This is the self with the self. This is the illusion that the self imposes on the self to deal with the horror of the situation. Slavoj Žižek refers to this as the fetishist split. It's based on Lacanian psychoanalysis, which I can't penetrate, which is based on Freudian psychoanalysis. So in psychoanalytic theory, the notion of the fetishist split, as described by Slavoj Žižek, is we split our knowingness so that we know very well there is no hope here. We know very well we are an astronaut that's dying in some dustbin in space that's full of alien corpses where everybody else has already died. We know very well the tragedy and the catastrophe of our situation, and yet we split and we imbue fetishistically the fantasy. We imbue it, we fetishize it with libidinous energy, with hope, with life energy as a means of escape. But it's not a real escape. It's not a real escape. This is why when we talk about defense mechanisms and escape into fantasy, we would say infantile defense mechanisms. But I put infantile defense mechanism into ChatGPT 2 days ago, and it came back with some other language. It was like non-developed or primitive defense mechanisms. So I was like, oh, maybe infantile's not very PC these days. Well, I learned it as infantile. I think now they would say primitive defense mechanism. I like infantile because it has the word infant in it. It's from when we were children. I will be better off pretending that I'm a king in a castle than dealing with the reality. That's a child's logic. And also, what choice does a child have? They don't have credit cards. They don't have cars. They can't be like, oh, Marjorie, you're having one of your turns, Mama. I'm going to go and stay in the Ramada until you get over this bout. You've no escape. There's nowhere to go. So your defenses become primitive. Fantasy is a primitive, infantile defense to a horrifying reality. So what's happening here? I want you to have a many tentacled alien in your mind, and then the authentic self, is in a cracked cryogenic chamber that's broken, and the authentic self is becoming skeletal, it's malnourished, it's atrophying, it's slowly dying, and you're in this space. But everything here is you. Everything here is you. The narcissistic relationship is the horror of the situation of where you're localized in space. There's no hope. There's no form of escape. We tell ourselves a narcissistic, as in grandiose, fantastical myth to survive what the narcissist is doing. So you have one of these pictures: alien, broken cryogenic chamber, atrophied authentic self. Now double that picture. There's two of them. That's what the narcissist has trained you to do. This is new for you. Loving alien, providing fantasy, showing up as perfect lover, cryogenic chamber, dying person. They've lived that since they were a kid. This is new. You're mirroring their reality. They've always been there. There's hope for you. You can go back through the wormhole. You can go back to some coordinates of space where you can find home again. They can't. They've been there probably since age 4, age 5. They can't go home. They're stuck. That's their reality. Of course, in this reality, it superimposes onto you. Theirs is superimposed onto you. It's forced onto you. But you're learning to live like a narcissist. You might have heard the expression, it's not used that much online, but when I started in the narcissism YouTube space, back in 2012, people would say, oh, you've caught fleas, which is an expression I hated because it was confusing to me and to clients. But what they were trying to say is you're mirroring the behaviors of a narcissist. So if you spend too long with a narcissist, people would very simplistically say, oh, you become narcissistic. It's kind of true, but I'd add a layer of nuance to that. It's not that you become abusive per se and as such. It's that in order to survive, you start mirroring the narcissistic coordinates of the abuser. That's the shared fantasy. That's the shared fantasy. That's the coping mechanism. In order to survive you, I've got to think like you. In order to survive this, I need to do what you're doing. You're taking me to the horrifying place at the end of space, the dustbin of space that you live in, and you're making me live there as though I'm as trapped as you because you want me to stay. You don't want to be alone here. So there, the alien, the loving alien here, you could say is a part of you that's trying to protect you. In your version, they don't have a loving alien. They do have an alien that's supplying them with fantasy and supplying you with fantasy to help them survive the horror of who they are, but there's no empathy there. Your loving alien has empathy and is just trying to survive this temporary difficult situation. Theirs is trying to pull other people. Their non-loving alien is like a mermaid that's summoning people with fake distress signals to come through that same wormhole to end up in the same dustbin of space. Come and be trapped here with me so that I have more people to play with, so that I'm not just sat here on my own in space waiting to die. They don't have hope. They don't have hope, but you do. Letting go of the fantasy, seeing the reality is your way home. You aren't trapped there. There is a way home. The way home is through humility. The way home is by reconnecting with authenticity. This will hurt, If a hand has been frozen in the snow, when it warms back up, it's very painful. It hurts a lot as the feeling and the blood returns to the nerves. It's extremely painful. It will hurt. The hurt will be temporary. You'll be stronger for it afterwards, and you won't waste and ruin your life. So it's worth it. In all due humility, the place to start is by saying, here I am. I'm trapped in a false reality out in space where I don't want to be, with a creature that I don't want to be with. They pretended to be something else, but now I see they are this. And then your defense mechanism will kick in. No, that's not true. They're good. It's a defense mechanism. You're now engaging in the same, you're mirroring the infantile, primitive, narcissistic defense mechanism that they have. Freud identified many defense mechanisms. This one is just called denial. It's just denial. It's to save us from the pain of reality. We subsume ourselves into a matrix-like simulated version of reality in which everything is okay. He really loves me. She really loves me. She's damaged. She has PTSD, but she really loves me. She's so wonderful. I'll never find another woman like her again. I'll never find another man like him again. No, she's my mother. She must love me. It's biological. It's genetic. No, he's my father. He's distant. He's cold. He's aloof. But one day he'll love me. One day he'll... No. In humility, admitting that you've made a mistake. In humility, admitting that you've probably held on to hope. You've probably been toking the opium-copium pipe for too long, and you're high, and you need to sober up, and you've become addicted to that narcissistic supply. And then to just say, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable, but I want to live an authentic life with my values, with my boundaries intact. I don't want to be stuck here in space with this monster, with this parasite. And all they do is feed off people and feed them fantasies because they're lonely and they're cruel and they've lost their grasp on reality. It's not that you wish them harm. Maybe one day they'll wake up and go to therapy. Maybe they'll one day and have their moments of humility and vulnerability and say, this isn't cool, man. I shouldn't be doing this to people. I really need help. If they go to therapy, good, wonderful. We're all happy for them when they do, if they do. But it's not your responsibility. So that's another level of humility. I cannot save them. Another level of humility. It's not my responsibility to save them. This can be strangely painful for those of us who are entrained into a savior complex through childhood, through boundary breaking, through emotional incest. I've lived it. The best way to break through these layers is slowly, gently, compassionately, and with regular therapeutic intervention. This is the way in which narcissism is a ghost story, is a simulation told to the ego by itself. You don't have to join in this game. Ladies and gents, I have a new course. It is hopefully the last course I ever make. I don't think I'll need to make another one after this. I've set myself no time limits, no restrictions. I've treated it as though I'm doing face-to-face coaching with you. And so if I need to cover a topic and it needs to be covered thoroughly, I take the time to do it. At the moment, I think the course is around 15 hours long. If I need to make amendments afterwards, I reserve the right to do that. I will continue adding to this course for as long as I feel is necessary until I've gone, okay, that's it. That's me. I've said everything I can say about helping people to recover from narcissistic abuse. The course is a total roadmap, a total narcissistic abuse recovery roadmap from beginning, step by step by step by step by step to the end. The syntax of the course has been set carefully. You're going to ask in the comments, can I do this with my therapist? Can I do this with my counselor? Please do. Please do get the assistance of a qualified mental health practitioner, preferably one who has a very good understanding of narcissistic abuse, and they can go through the course with you and they can adapt bits of the course for you. If you do the course, I can't promise that all the problems will go away in a few months. What I would say is a realistic target is that inside of 2 months of working on the course, you would start to feel 80 to 90% better. That's realistic. And you might go, well, that would mean I only have 10% healing to do. Yes, my friends, but that last 10 might be an ongoing journey for the rest of your life. I want you to set your expectations properly. It's a very good course. I'm very happy with it. It's very thorough. It leaves no stone unturned, but it is a course. It's a course we do online. So there's a limit to how much it can actually do. Therapy is going to help as well. If you do these techniques and your therapist takes the techniques and adapts them for you specifically, it's going to be very, very powerful. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. And I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thank you.